So Liz, we're both in the military for a long time, both retired lieutenant colonels. I don't think it's an understatement to say that one bad evaluation can kill your career.
That is exactly correct. While it might not kill your career immediately, it's going to stop your promotion. It's going to have effects for the rest of your career if it doesn't kill it.
So I guess evaluations are important not only for promotion and progression, but for schools and command. There's all types of reasons why it's important to have a good, accurate evaluation. What can a service member do if they get an evaluation that they believe is inaccurate or has procedural errors?
First thing that they can do is actually talk to their rater and senior rater and discuss the situation and see if it can be handled informally. But if that doesn't work, or if they know that that's just not going to work ahead of time, there is an appeal process to address both the administrative type errors on an evaluation, but also the more subjective information on the evaluation as well.
All right, so you mentioned the administrative error, and there's also the substantive error, and those serve as the basis for appeals. When you talk about administrative error, what are we talking about?
Let's say they got a date wrong for the, ACFT or AFT, or it's incorrectly marked on their evaluation that they failed height, weight, and the tape test. So those are the administrative errors where there's, information, there's evidence there that this is just wrong and it can be easily corrected on that.
Like rating chain errors and, code errors for what type of evaluation is, signature errors, anything like that, like time and position, if there's enough time to even be rated. Those are the administrative errors.
Correct. A violation of the regulation on the evaluation or any of those, administrative situations, those can be fixed through that type of an appeal.
And I presume that the way you fix those is you bring to the personnel section in the Army, it's HRC, the evidence that shows it's a mistake.
Exactly.
What about the errors that you consider due process or substantive, like this is not a fair evaluation of my performance? How do you deal with those type of errors?
Well, that's a different type of appeal of your evaluation. And again, at least some of it is going to be based on evidence, whether or not the chain of command or your rater, senior rater, appropriately counseled you. And if you had those counseling statements, or if it was the information, the more subjective information in that evaluation is supported by any evidence rather than just getting something negative at the end of the evaluation period.
Well, I presume that you want to preserve those errors by, finding evidence contrary to what the rater or the senior rater said, whether it's other individuals who attest to your performance, or whether you received awards or commendations during that period of time. You'd also want to, when authorized, request a commander's inquiry to look into the basis of that evaluation. And then you choose whether this is administrative or whether it's substantive. I presume that's the best way to do it.
Exactly. That way you have some documentary evidence that will support any type of appeal that you're going to do. For instance, if you have, the commander as your rater, but you really worked with the XO a lot more and the XO said you did a great job, putting that in writing can make a significant difference.
I guess that's a situation where you would need to get statements from the people for whom you really work, right? You have someone who's a senior rater, but you've never seen that senior rater in your lifetime. I know that's happened to me before.
It has happened to me as well. Yes.
It's like I didn't even know this person was my senior rater. Fortunately, it was not an evaluation that I needed to appeal. But had it been an evaluation I needed to appeal, that would be a basis, right?
Exactly.
Now, what type of evidence, other than what we've already discussed, these neutral third-party memorandums or the commander's inquiry memorandum, would you want to attach in an appeal that's substantive?
Well, any official, positive document. So, in an NCOER, you talk about, a soldier's, military bearing and fitness. And if he, that soldier, did awesome on an ACFT, you want to bring in that document to show that.
I presume you'd also want to, if there were command climate surveys or any of that type of information, bring that information in also, right?
Exactly.
Now, in the Army, there's a specific type of evaluation called a relief for cause. That means you're getting fired for a reason. And those are really harsh evaluations, right? You're being relieved, it's for cause. We call it referred in the Army. And in that process, the first thing that you are able to do is have a statement that's attached to the evaluation, right? That's before the appeal process. Should somebody seek legal counsel in drafting that statement?
100% yes.
Okay, and why is that?
You want to make sure that not only is your rebuttal statement or that statement you attach to the referred OER or NCOER is well written and is easily digestible, but you want to make sure that it directly kind of attacks why it's a referred NCOER or OER, and that it's clear and concise so that it'll actually be looked at and considered.
Right, so you'd want to attack the basis for the poor evaluation or for the relief for cause.
Yep.
And that's your first bite at the apple, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And anybody who sees that evaluation will see your response because it's appended to the evaluation itself.
Correct. It goes in your official record as along with and attached to that evaluation. So anybody who sees that negative evaluation will also have the chance to see your rebuttal.
Got it. And that is in addition to any formal appeal that is either administrative or substantive that you have to the evaluation.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, when that happens and you appeal and you get your results, a couple things can happen. They can grant your appeal, grant it in part, deny the appeal. If you have an appeal that's granted, right, and they say, yep, you shouldn't have received this evaluation, the command does not go in and rewrite the evaluation. It's typically just removed from your record. And if you had a missing evaluation, that would signal to a board that there was a problem, right? So many times you're going to need counsel to help you even after that process. Let me ask this. In an evaluation appeal, how important is it to have legal counsel help you with the appeal process itself?
I think it's incredibly helpful because not only are you having that legal counsel for the actual appeal itself, you're also setting it up if that appeal does not work. You can then use that information in that appeal later on to the Army Board of Correction for Military Records to further appeal it to see if you can, save your career later on.
Well, and I tell my clients who have come to me with evaluation problems, I said, look, we've got the full frontal where we're going to try to appeal it, but we also have to have a mitigation strategy. How do we build a couple evaluations later? How do we think, hey, what's our next evaluation and the evaluation after that? Kind of put the flames out on this evaluation. What can we do to posture yourself? And that involves, setting them up to talk to their rater, to their senior rater, to just basically be honest and say, hey, I need a plan so that I can recover from this. And more times than not, I've found that the new command, the new raters, the new senior raters are always wanting to help their soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guardsmen, Guardians now. I guess I left them out. But, service members, commanders generally or evaluators generally want to try to help them. So getting our guidance on what the next steps are is critical. I would say probably as important as our appeal itself. Now, do you know what some of the pitfalls are? Like, I'll tell you one of them. One of the pitfalls that these folks come to us with is they want to get in there and just bitch about their evaluation, right? They say it doesn't feel right, and they're complaining about everything, command climate to the defect closed too early. Are those effective in an evaluation appeal?
Almost always they are not effective at all. You want to address specific facts or information in that appeal rather than it just doesn't seem right, or, everything is wrong about this command, et cetera, et cetera. You need to have it more pointed and direct.
Right, and that's where legal counsel will come in, because what will happen sometimes is you just need an outsider to take a look at what's going on, right? You need someone to go, what does the defect closing an hour early have to do with your evaluation? Well, it might if you're a cook, right? Or if you run the defect. But other than that, it's just a sanity check on what you're doing. And we're able to say, this is important, this is not important. This is administrative, this is substantive. Here is what needs to happen. And the one thing about changing an evaluation or being successful in an appeal on a substantive level is it is a high standard. It's not just you could have gotten a better evaluation. You have to show what we would call clear and convincing evidence that the evaluation was improper. With the importance of evaluations, not only for promotion, but for retention in the military, it's critical that when you get a relief for cause or even a poor evaluation, you seek legal counsel. We are the Law Office of William Helixon, your warrior advocates. You defend the nation, we defend you.